Imagine stepping into a place so wild, so profoundly unsettling, that the sources describing it just paint this picture of a complete enigma.
Right.
People vanish,
Yeah.
legends talk about horrors, and it just seems to defy explanation. Tonight, we are taking a deep dive into the chilling mystery surrounding the Headless Valley.
And this isn't just some campfire story. We've gathered quite a stack of sources.
Yeah.
We've got historical accounts, geological surveys, folklore collections, even some recent reports.
All trying to understand what makes this remote wilderness, tucked away in these treacherous mountains, cliffs, forests, that confusing fog, what makes it so infamous.
Exactly. The core mystery here, and it pops up across decades and different kinds of sources, is just the sheer number of disappearances and, well, the horrifying incidents tied to this one specific area.
So our mission, really, in this deep dive is to sift through these accounts.
Yeah, pull out the most compelling bits, the nuggets of information, and see what insights emerge. What secrets might this valley hold? What are the sources really telling us?
Okay, let's maybe start with the landscape itself.
Yeah.
Because the geological surveys, the early expedition notes, they definitely paint a picture of, well, incredibly difficult terrain, almost maze-like.
True, the environment is brutal. But as you dig into the historical records, the real terror seems to come from the history documented within the valley itself.
Right. So what stands out in those earlier sources?
Well, what's fascinating, or maybe disturbing, is how consistently this theme of unexplained vanishings appears way back. One of the earliest documented cases we found. It's from over a century ago. We looked at notes from a surveying team. Captain Alistair Crane led them.
Okay.
5 men, experienced guys, prepared. But the search party logs that came later, they described finding the camp totally undisturbed, tents up, supplies there,
But the men
completely gone.
vanished. And this is where, according to those reports, it gets really unsettling. Horrifying, frankly.
Yeah.
The only physical evidence they found? Those severed heads, reportedly placed in a circle near what some notes called an ancient stone formation, maybe an altar.
And that detail, that specific grisly detail, it crops up again and again in later accounts, later retellings. It's consistent.
Which connects to the local legends, right? The folklore sources you looked at.
Precisely. The historical accounts sort of echo the folklore. Locals talk about these silent watchers, shadowy figures usually said to inhabit the valley, guard it, maybe.
Okay.
These legends, passed down, collected in ethnographic studies, they claim these figures are restless spirits, maybe a forgotten tribe, cursed after some violent betrayal ages ago.
A curse.
Some versions explicitly link the curse to a mass decapitation during a conflict back then. The idea is the valley's haunted until, their souls find peace or something.
So based on the sources, are we looking at history being maybe misinterpreted through mythology? Or do the more recent events, the modern reports, actually lend some weight to these supernatural claims?
That's the question.
Our sources also mention newer cases, like the hiker Maya Collins.
Right, Maya Collins. Her social media, her messages before she disappeared, the logs show this shift. She starts out excited, then gets cryptic, fearful.
Talked about feeling watched, hearing things.
Exactly. And then weeks after she went silent, her camera was found, abandoned.
And the picture.
Yeah, multiple news reports, online discussions picked up on it. The final photo, it apparently shows this shadowy figure standing behind her, face obscure, holding what looked, well, disturbingly like a severed head.
So this isn't just some story from 100 years ago in old logs. These kinds of deeply unsettling incidents, they seem to continue, documented much more recently.
It appears so. And then there's the environment itself tied into the folklore, too. The legend of the whispering fog.
Ah, yes, the fog.
Survivor accounts, anecdotal reports, they describe this thick mist rolling in fast and bringing with it these faint, disorienting whispers.
Whispers of what?
Depends who you ask, based on the sources. Some said pleading, others warnings. Some even heard, cruel laughter. The stories suggest if you listen too closely or get trapped, you just get lost. Disoriented, never seen again.
So this raises that big question, looking at everything we've seen in the sources. How much is just the extreme danger of the place itself? The terrain, the psychological effects from isolation, the fog.
Versus how much, if any, is something genuinely, supernatural or unknown. The consistency of certain details across different sources, different times.
Yeah.
It's hard to ignore.
Yeah.
And despite these terrifying stories documented for centuries, people still try to go in. Thrill seekers, researchers.
Some come back, sure.
Yeah.
But often reporting, Pretty profound psychological effects, right?
Yeah.
Feeling watched, carrying this heavy, kind of inexplicable weight afterwards.
Exactly. But as the historical records, the failed searches, the recent missing persons reports grimly note.
Many never return at all, just swallowed by the valley's dark embrace, as documented time and again.
So what does this deep dive into the sources really tell us in the end? The unanswered questions about Headless Valley, they're still right there, as prominent now as a century ago.
Is it spirits? Something ancient disturbed by people going too far? Or something else entirely that these different sources are all just, trying to describe in their own way?
The vanished explorers from every era we have records of, they're kind of a silent testament to the danger, aren't they? Their fates lost to this wilderness that just refuses to give up its secrets.
Yeah.
And so the valley waits. Its mystery is preserved in the accounts we've explored tonight.
Maybe some places, as these sources almost seem to suggest, are just meant to be left alone. Makes you think. Once you enter the Headless Valley, do you ever truly leave? In any sense of the word.